Okay, joining me to the right is Craig Fritsche. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
Very good.
Yes, you
Junior
did.
Vice, VFW Auxiliary Post 323. Welcome. And
Thank you.
he's a presence here for weeks before the fair, every day during the fair. Joining me is John Reinberger, who knows Craig very well through the Legion and probably
40
a lot
and
of
8.
things.
Yeah, 40 and 8.
Okay, so was that just like you had nothing to do, so you were out here before the fair for weeks?
We had nothing to do, so we figured we'd come out and fix up the beer garden out here, and which we did.
And you did, and it
we
looks
did.
terrific.
Oh, thank you.
How many hours? Because I would see you alone a lot out there.
I didn't book them, but I bet we got over 500 hours in there.
Wow.
We were out here for almost 2.5 months.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, when did you come out? Like about May 1st?
Right in there, yep.
Why did you decide to remodel?
Well, we wanted to make a little more room out there, so we added on to
was
that.
smart.
And then we were going to put a new floor in. Well, ended up tearing the whole floor out. Everything
Yeah.
was rotten. Everything was. So it was just time for an update. And talking to people, it's been about, that building's over 40 years old. And I think the last time it had anything done was about 25 years ago. So it was time.
Yeah.
It was time.
So is your booth, what's the official name of the booth down there that you're helping on?
It's the VFW booth, 323.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's the beer garden.
And he brags about the great prices, and you know what? I've actually had that verified by a lot of people. The great food and the great prices,
Thank you.
right?
Some of
Thank
the
you.
best food ever. That
I think it's some of the cheapest prices on the
Yeah.
fairground. Matter of fact, I know it is. So.
And tell what kind of menu you have.
We have hamburgers, cheeseburgers,
Yes.
onion rings, French fries, cold pop, cold water, and of course in the beer garden, cold beer.
Yeah, right. And then they're actually going to have music tomorrow on
music
Saturday.
tomorrow at
Always on Saturdays you'll have music?
Saturday, and yes, Saturday. I thought maybe we were going to have it tonight, but I think they just changed it just to one night this year.
Yeah.
And that's Dave Carlson and Roger Muller. It's called Big Sky Country, I believe it is. And they'll be out there.
I was going to say, first of all, thank you for your your service.
Thank you,
in the
John.
military.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for yours.
Well, thank you. But I was going to ask you, can you tell us about some of your veteran experiences? In other words, since discharge. In other words, you've joined like maybe the American Legion and things like that.
I discharged from the service in 1970. Joined the American Legion.
Yeah.
I've got close to 40 years at the Stillwater Legion.
Commander.
Back in 2000, they elected me as commander. I was commander 3 years. I held the record there for a while, for 3 years.
Yep.
Just sort of kind of moved away a little bit, and I'm back again. I'm commander again. I'm going on my second year again as commander. And John, as you well know that. So, and a lot of people don't know, we did sell our building. And we sold that to Ed Schmidt that used to own the harbor. And he's doing a great job down there, and we can still meet there. It's called Post 40, still Post 48, but it's a 3rd Street post. Everybody's welcome to stop in.
Yep.
We have pull tabs. That's a good thing. So,
Right.
Yep. Have you seen...
Then you were
go
you had some VFW experience.
then I joined the auxiliary up at the VFW, and actually we did have the men's auxiliary for a while. And I was the president of the men's auxiliary.
Commander.
Yes. And then the Legion, they figured they wanted to combine the men's auxiliary and the ladies auxiliary, so now it's just called the auxiliary.
I see.
And that's how that became about.
Oh, I
So-
see. And then you've been a member of the 40 and 8.
I'm a member of the 48 for 30-some years, as you well know.
And that's 40 ET, right?
Yeah.
8.
40 and 8.
Yeah.
So that years ago, that was 40 men in a boxcar or 8 horses.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
how
so
that's
we
how they
went
hauled
around.
them around.
Right.
Stamped it right on the box.
Yep, right on the boxcar.
Craig,
So-
over the years, are you seeing a lack of respect for the military or the symbols behind that are some often connected with the military? Or what are you seeing? More questions asked? I'm just curious from your end.
I'm thinking, I believe right now what I'm seeing, less respect.
Less
Okay.
respect.
Less respect. back in my era, I don't want to really get into that. Back in my era, you know what we are called and all of that. Nowadays, we just can't get nobody to join. The kids coming back from Iraq, Iran,
Right.
they're trying to raise families.
Right.
And not like what we were, we tried to have a family life and plus, belong to the Legion and the organizations.
And you could in those days.
We could back in them days.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
nowadays, I think the kids are more family orientated, so it's tough to get kids to join. It really is.
Right.
I wish we could get them to join.
Yeah.
It'd help our organizations
Oh,
out.
God, yes.
Because, John, as you well know, we're the last group of people going through.
Yeah.
These organizations, the
Right.
Legion and the VFW.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty
When we're
sad
gone-
stuff. Yeah.
When we're gone, I don't think we're going to have them anymore.
Unfortunately, yeah. I'm afraid you're telling the tomorrow.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Wow. Why is that?
Well, I got a theory on it. I happen to read about the history of the Army or veterans or something like this. And you'll find that each group formed their own. The Revolutionary had their group, and then all of a sudden the War 1812 had their group, and the Civil War and all that. But it was every war seemed to congregate their own group. Or, there was some start, even the Spanish American had some groups. And part of it, I think, was that, they had their niche. That we're the ones in in the War 1812. We don't know anything about the Revolutionary War. That's our fathers or grandfathers. They have no commonality. So you'll find that each one of them formed their own groups, and part of it was centered on the idea of benefits, because all of a sudden, the federal government got this idea, well, maybe we'll give war pensions and things like that. So, geez, we got to get the, World War pension. Oh, how do we get established? It was all that kind of stuff,
Right.
but it was that kind of a system. And then, that's the way it kind of really got going. So, surprisingly, and this is just my theory of it, this is somebody else's theory as well, that we're combining World War I and World War II, surprisingly, as we move through history. It's largely the same battle, and they say, well, how can that be? Because, they were in our minds, they were always two great battles, and, how do you... But when people say, well, look, when you look at it, it was roughly the same people who were fought. It was just an extension of it. Then it makes sense why the Legion, which is a thing of World War I, was able to hook up to World War II, but after that they can't seem to pick up the Afghanistan, that kind of thing, Iraq thing, which I expect that they'll pick up their own group.
Right.
And under some kind of a war or bonus or whatever. But that's just, and I'm just using history of it. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
What do you think on that?
I think that's how it's going to go. I really do. I do. I
The-
hope my phone doesn't bother anybody.
Yeah.
No. When
Well,
the
what-
people come and eat at your booth, are they military as a rule or not really? I just want to support you guys.
We have. I see military there. I see just regular families coming in, and but I do see a lot of vets.
Oh, sure.
And it's nice to see them.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're supporting the VFW booth.
Right,
which is
you're not
nice.
asking
It
for
is
their
nice.
DD-214.
Right,
What's
yeah.
that? I had a guy the other day with a DD-214. I said, well, hell, there isn't too many that know what that is. And
No.
he was wearing it as a shirt.
I've got a shirt like that too.
Yeah. it was
One thing
kinda
I
cool.
liked, we were in Chicago over July 4th. I loved how they had high respect for the military. I mean, you guys were getting in free, super reduced. I
Wow.
felt guilty for not having served. I mean, it was really incredible. You were getting your train passes free. I was paying full price. I mean,
you get free
boat
passes.
rides were like 75% off. I mean, some
really
cities
surprised me.
absolutely really cater to the veterans and the active military.
And I believe that if all the vets, when they go someplace, if they let them know that they are a veteran, I believe they would get a discount. I really do. The people do bend over for. Some of them do bend over for the
Right.
veterans.
yeah.
Right.
And well, just like a lot of people don't know, Lowe's is automatic 10% on any vet.
Huh.
On full purchase. So all you have
Didn't
to do is
know
let them
that.
know that you're
Very.
a veteran, and you get 10%
Sure.
automatic.
How about on November? Okay, the
Yeah,
Veterans Day.
Yeah.
that is unbelievable. How many things they give.
Yes.
I mean, meals and
Haircuts,
Haircuts, everything. A lot of free
Incredible,
stuff.
incredible.
A lot of free
And
stuff.
we go to a hotel in Duluth that has the whole week is like half off. I mean, just terrific.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
I think we're going
to see
through
that.
an era, and I don't want to go through a war to get it. But the problem is, you and I came from an era where everybody in our class went into the military. And all of a sudden, we're getting into a period where we can go almost 2 generations or more, and we don't even have a
Right.
vet in a family.
That's right.
And like, wow, what's the Army or what's the Navy? You know what I mean? There's no bonding, whereas we always had that around us. I mean,
Yes,
kind of
we did.
smothered it, if you could argue.
Yep.
And we've lost that, and that's kind of that's part of the problem out there. That's the big disconnect of society. You're
And-
not
and- Back in them days, we all ended up in the military, and I believe we were all classmates. Then we all went in the military. We even got a little bit closer.
yeah.
Being
There's
in
that
the
too,
military.
right?
When you came home, you could talk about your experience in
Right.
the military.
Right.
And
Right.
I went in the service with a buddy of mine, and we went. I went to Germany. He ended up in Vietnam, but all
Oh,
through
you're the luckiest guy, weren't you?
Yeah,
AIT,
boy.
AIT
in
and
that,
basic.
in that era.
Wow.
AIT and basic, we were in the buddy system, and
Yeah.
we were there
Yeah,
for the.
That's
Is
an
there
in-
always a camaraderie, lifelong? Do you feel with these
Well, yeah,
guys?
I don't know if you always have a connection with
With veterans, you do.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially the ones that you might have served with, your classmates,
that
and
kind of stuff.
Yep.
and
right.
so
Yeah.
Well, over the years at the fair, we'll bring it back to the fair here. Have you seen? I mean, does anyone say anything negative when they go by the VFW? It hasn't gone to that lack of respect, do they?
no.
Oh,
As a
gee.
matter of fact,
Oh.
all the changes we made in there, everybody is saying, "Geez, it really looks nice here."
I've heard
Yeah.
that.
It really looks nice.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, we put a brand new fence around it, and then we let it sit for a couple of years, and then we added on and did the remodeling. So
Boy, you got to have quite an investment in there now. What kind of money is that thing?
Oh, I don't know if you want to reveal that.
Well, maybe,
well, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I think with the remodeling, it was only about $3,000.
oh, that's not bad.
Really?
It wasn't
But
bad.
think of all his
But,
time.
you have to remember that was all
50,000.
I know,
volunteer labor.
that's
But
right.
50,000 in labor.
Yeah, that was all
Yeah.
free labor. So
Right. Yeah.
but it was well worth it. I enjoyed it. I really
Look,
enjoyed
turned
it.
out well.
And we've had a lot of compliments, and it's been long overdue. Let's put it that way.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Money-wise, does it all go? I mean, or do you cover costs? How does it go? Is any of it donated? The food? You don't have to give numbers, but is it pretty
Right. Yep.
good amount of money goes back
it's
to the
all
VFW?
volunteer.
Yeah, it's all volunteers.
It's all
Yep.
volunteer. Yep.
Yep. Then you pay for the cost of the food, or hopefully you get some even donated.
Oh,
Yeah.
And now we have people in there working, and then we pay them to work. And
Sure. Oh, that's
you've worked in there with the 40 and 8. You know how it works.
Volunteered, I hope.
Oh yeah,
Staying
we
with his volunteer
Either
status,
that, I'm still
right?
waiting for
Yeah.
saving
You know,
a
he got the
paycheck.
2019 outstanding volunteer,
there
right?
you go.
Yeah, yeah. Let's not go throwing any pay things.
really.
I'll take it. I'll take my nomination back,
There-
and
there
Gary
you go.
Griesel will too. That's right.
How's current membership in all these organizations? I mean, I suppose part of it is, as you say, we aren't getting the next generation to speak, but and then there's group dying off just by mere attrition. I mean, what are our membership?
I believe membership's holding its own. But
Okay,
John,
that's
like you
good.
said, look at the people we're losing every day.
Oh,
and
God, yes.
these World War II and the Korea guys are. They're dying off. Look at how many they're dying off during every day that's dying off.
Yeah.
And our era, the Vietnam era,
Even that's
we're at that age too,
that's
John.
right. That's right. I like that. I like this. I think it was a number something. I was wondering, if you were the last guy who, in World War II, I mean, hell, you'd have to be 90 years old. I mean,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Is that right?
And that doesn't, like, wow, day one, war over, so you were a veteran. I mean, those are the kind of numbers we're
Right.
looking at. Last
Yeah.
day kind of stuff.
Craig, have you gone to D.C. and seen the wall? Of course, we have the traveling wall
Right, did you
in
see the
Stillwater
traveling wall?
alone.
I seen the traveling
Yeah.
wall, but I didn't. I have not been to D.C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I did see the traveling wall. Actually, I helped escort
I know
it
you
into
did.
town. So
Yes,
Yeah,
you did.
you know, it was great. It was great.
I looked at the email that you sent me. I thought it said Thursday, so I was ready to Thursday, so I didn't read the subsequent emails. And turned on, I'm opening the paper, and here it was, like on Tuesday.
Yeah,
this
here
was
we- yeah, the
and I
volunteer
figured, well, how
fund
could I
gets
see?
to it.
How could I see? I'm going to go to it this afternoon. How can I see the future? 2 days ago.
I had somebody ask me, I have to get down to that and see that wall. I said,
Yeah.
I said, honey, it left 2 days ago.
I know.
yeah, I did
You
too.
know, because a lot of
Yeah.
evidently she didn't know about it,
Yeah.
and you know, then she wanted to go down to it. But
Yeah.
you know,
How did
No,
you
it's-
get it to Stillwater?
that was the Eagles. that,
Eagles got it. That's
Oh.
right.
They
Yeah.
got it into Stillwater, and
Yep.
that took about a year's worth of
Oh,
planning.
did it?
Oh, sure.
yeah.
Wow.
You know, and there
It's
had
a
to be a
great
certain,
location, actually.
They had to have a certain amount of money raised before they could even sign a contract.
Oh, wow.
So and
That was a
then-
nice display, I thought. I mean,
Yeah, it was
because, you know,
nice.
not everybody's going to get to D.C. I mean, the
Yeah.
display we had, of course, is smaller than the actual one.
Right.
I mean, geez, the other one is, I don't know, 10 feet in the the highest
High
point.
hard
but-
part.
Yeah, but it's, and you and I knew people in there. So
Yes, we did. You know, some of our
'cause that's
classmates. You know, and
because that's another thing is we're moving into an era where they don't have even a connection to. They don't.
right.
You know,
Right.
and that's a sad event. You know, I don't want to create people. Yeah.
Actually, I was happy to see people when I was there.
Yeah. People
There.
were semi-dressed in the military,
Be sad
so
if
they-
it was empty. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Like
you know, they
really
had hats
sad.
or something, some recognition
Yeah.
that they might have been
Flowers,
a veteran, you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
They left. Yeah, it was
But,
beautiful.
No.
Craig, anything we haven't covered about your fair experience and your military experience that
no,
you
I
want
don't think so. You know, it's just great to be out here all the time and
Yeah.
working. You know, we do work hard out here. We work really hard out here,
Yeah, I know you.
and
do.
we enjoy it for the 5 days that it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? And as soon as it's done with, we'll start getting ready for next year.
Do you
God.
really? Wow.
And it's all volunteer work. People have to realize that this is all volunteer
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
Us volunteers that are working these things do not get paid.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
And you know what? We always ask for a raise.
And you always get that same
we always
raise.
get the same
100%
answer.
raise.
Right. 100% of nothing is nothing.
That's right. Craig Fritsche, thank you so
you
much
so
for
Thank you.
joining
I
us.
really appreciate
Yeah,
it. Thank
same.
you.
Yep.
You have a great afternoon
Thank
now.
you. I'll
Thank
be
you.
trying those cheeseburgers out tomorrow. Thanks, Craig.